Yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
We're back in open. Good night. Steve, if you can do it.
Lord, again, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the rain that you saw fit to send us this afternoon. We pray for our country, our nation leaders, local governments, especially our town of Perth tonight as we gather and take care of the business of the town. We ask for your guidance in all these things. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you guys for coming. If anybody would like to speak, go ahead and I think it's a sheet up there. You can sign up. No more what it is. I don't think we really need to worry about that. Just let us know if you got anything to say. Michael, we're going to move ahead with the information that you need. So, if we get a motion to move forward with this agreement.
She's gonna say. Yeah. And I know you guys all have them in the stack.
So I'll make a motion for the resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Hurt approving the lease financing of capital improvements to its water system, authorizing the leasing of town facilities and the execution and delivery of a prime lease and a local lease acquisition agreement and financing lease and other related actions.
Here a second.
Second.
Shannon.
Steve?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
And Gary?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a few seconds, let her record this, give it to you, and
Thank you.
get out of here. Thank you. We really appreciate you coming. So we'll take a little break while she does this. If anybody needs anything. Needs a break.
I got one question from Mike. You said you want to buy a car.
Yeah.
What are you looking
It's 1974 Triumph Spitfire. So
It's gonna be green.
it is, yeah, emerald green. Yeah. You're shocked to find out.
I've been calling you for work. Do you want me to put you down?
One of my daughters
So just leave yours.
enjoys farting around in the garage with her daddy, so that's one of our projects.
That's good.
That'd be something for her to drive.
Yeah.
If I can get her to learn how to drive a manual, I don't know.
Let me go and do the seal and pushing these over right now.
Do both. Chapman.
Go ahead and do both.
Do both.
Watch it cord.
Oh, this one's here. One's there.
It's been going on 3, 4 years.
Just water thing. Shoot it out. I was gonna say volleyball.
Yeah. For a
Oh,
long
remember when
time.
we got the first phase done? We can pay it on Yeah.
Yeah, we've been going to DS much, and she's up that work.
Oh, like, we used to
Yeah, we tried to stay safe.
I never really thought too much about it.
Gee, that came on Wednesday.
Yeah, you think about it, and this was whatever day.
If I can have two, because a lot of times they're lost. Thank you so much. Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for the welcome and ability to help you.
I'm sure we'll be speaking again.
I suspect we will.
You guys say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have, I know.
All right.
Over.
Would anyone like to speak, make comments? You guys easy tonight? All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. The June expenditures, budget versus actuals. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Well, I want to make a comment, just looking at what looks to be pretty much the end of the year. Obviously, we are over budget, but that is not exactly a surprise, particularly given the situation that we encountered with the fuel surcharge for garbage collection. That doesn't account for all of it, that is correct, but certainly a sizable part of it. So we have a lot of work to do in the year that just started 7 days ago. And then in the upcoming budget year, there's going to be even further challenges to work on. Well, as far as the minutes are concerned, these look really good. I like this appearance and formatting, and you're using, I'm not exactly what you would call a fan of AI, but it's like any other tool. It can be good or not good depending on what you're doing with it and who's doing it and so forth. For the most part, this is a really good presentation. One thing though I want to clarify, one little correction I see on the June 24th set. On page 3. Near the top of the page under streetscape and plaza corridor. In that first bullet point there, this could have happened to anybody. I might not have spoken clear, but that should say from Family Dollar to SBMP. I was referring to the Southern Virginia Multimodal Park, not to the plaza. The original vision of that streetscape was for it to go from approximately the Family Dollar area all the way to the SBMP, with the anticipation of future large employment there. It could even be considered to extend toward Wayside Park at a subsequent conversation. Other than that, I like what I see. Thank you. Work on that.
Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
I'll make that motion.
Alice already made it. Jimmy second.
And that's with the corrections, right?
Yeah.
Steve,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Alice.
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
All right, since we passed these, we don't have any public comments, we'll move right on to new business. We've taken care of the passage of the VRA agreement, so we passed that. Real quick update on the plaza for you guys. We've got a couple of air conditioning units that giving us a little problem, and we've got, Dolls from over here, they're coming in and taking care of this. It looks like a fan bearing on one and a motor issue on another one. And, we have a row of lights out in one space, and we've got somebody gonna take a look at that.
So we're anticipating estimates on that soon.
Yeah, we got them, got to pull them and take a look at it. They're not very high, I had them written down here somewhere. But they're fighting the heat over there now, so I told Dobbs to come on in. They were like $300 or something to make repairs.
Are these separate AC units?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And the lights are not related to the AC unit?
No. That's just, having a little electrical inside, so they're gonna catch that while it's here.
Okay. I got it. Alice?
Yeah.
Yep.
Next, the employee handbook updates. I talked to Evelyn about working on that, but we really need to get this thing taken care of and fixed. I don't know if any of you want to tackle it or not. If you don't, I'll work with Evelyn on it, and we'll make the changes we feel like are necessary. But if any of you guys want to do it, it's entirely up to y'all. You're welcome to take it on.
Well, honestly, I wish that I could, but I would be stretching. I'm already overextended and just cannot at this time. Just as a reminder to whoever does, because I know how easy it is to forget things. With the passage of this budget, the budget was developed with the understanding that changeover HR-wise would occur with, coincidentally with the change in the fiscal year, not the calendrical year. So we need to make sure that any verbiage in there relating to that covers that. So any changes such as annual COLA raises, things of that nature take place in July, not January. Whatever goes with the accounting, the processing, and all that. We had talked about that months ago. We haven't agreed to on it, but we didn't actually. In fact, it was brought to my attention recently that we discussed it and agreed to do it, but we didn't actually vote to do that.
Well, I think we need to vote to do that, but most everywhere you go, you use the calendar year. And I don't understand why, as smart as the people we have working down here are, they can't figure out how to do that. And we should be able to do it. That's really a non-problem. And you keep it on the calendar year, and it doesn't tie right to your benefits or anything else to follow the fiscal year. Most people are accustomed to getting their raises in January.
I'm one person out of 7. Whatever the majority wants to do, we had that discussion because of there was complexities. There have been complexities for years in making things effective at mid-year.
Yeah.
It made it more difficult to project things that way, and it would simplify it to make it coincide with FY. It's the very same thing that I have at Workman. So Pennsylvania County Schools does that, and so does every other public school division that I'm aware of, unless they have a different type of system. It seems to me to be far more streamlined to do that. Now, if there's some reason why that items other than annual raises should be based on a calendrical cycle, sure. But when we have the budget discussion in the spring, we receive our insurance quotes, both for health insurance and for liability insurances. Those apply to the upcoming fiscal year. Now that we budget based on that.
I'm not talking about taking the budget off of a fiscal year. I'm talking about simply raises for staff.
Yeah, I think it was just because we had in the past, I think there was misallocation, we had to go back and make payments, and there's created confusion. So we talked about here a few months ago about doing it at the fiscal year so that when citizens see the budget, they see when it happens, and there's not this confusion of they're getting 3%, but it's actually only 0.5%, 1.5% for this year, and 1.5% for the other. And that's where trying to just make it clear, more transparent.
Some of it was transparency because it would look one way on the budget and then what you're actually doing is something else. If you say you're giving 3.5% raises, well, yes, you are. But if you're doing it at mid-year, you're giving half that as far as the budget is concerned. And therefore, anyone reading that is like, where do those numbers come from? How did anybody come up with that other than just pulling numbers out of the air? So I felt like we had some sort of a consensus that it would streamline the whole process to just make it all coincide with the fiscal year.
But I'm happy to take on the handbook as well.
Again, I'm 1 out of 7.
All right. Which way you want to do it? Do we have a motion?
And we're talking about specifically cost of living adjustments at fiscal year change instead of calendrical year. Right now, it is a calendrical year basis. We're talking about changing that to be at the fiscal year changing.
The price of the benefits, such as the health insurance, already goes with the fiscal year because we get the quotes on that in the spring and build them into the new budget. So that already changes July 1st. So really the only thing I think that's outstanding there is the annual raise.
Yeah.
That goes with the budget. And of course, that doesn't preclude any individual adjustments that come up that the council may want to make during the year, you know, for reasons that may arise. But as far as annual budgeted increases are concerned, I would make a motion that we change the effective date of those to coincide with the fiscal year beginning July 1st each year, as opposed to January as it has been in the past.
So, what else do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna make it transparent, that's, because that's the biggest thing we always hear at budget time is that we do under the table crooked backdoor stuff, and if it keeps it transparent where it looks right, feels right, tastes right.
I have no opinion one way or the other, but I will go with the group.
Everybody.
So I'll make it.
No, we need a second.
Make the motion?
I make the
Okay,
motion.
then I'll second.
Steve,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Alice,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
and Gary.
Yes.
All right. We'll move ahead now to the reports from staff. Marissa, here, did you run that?
I did the
paperwork?
checklist in here, sir.
Okay, so everybody should have the checklist.
Oh, you didn't? I'm sorry, before we do reports from staff, can I talk about the GA stuff?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, all right. So I emailed out the audiovisual quote that we got basically 2 quotes. But to try to make this easier for us to understand on what the workflow would be like and what the user experience would be, I got them to send a designer notes. So just so people understand, this is for live streaming like we do right now, but in a professional manner.
Yep, can I say one thing before you move on? I ran copies and set it around for everybody too, so they got a copy of the quote.
So we have a basic level, and then we have a full level. And I'll just read through what he says. Given the various component configurations possible, and these are just 2 options, we can change this how we want, you know, and as we deem fit. We should obviously work with Matthew, or if we want to go find someone else. But we have the basic one, and that one saves us money because it removes the automation piece from the full cost. So this is something that will need to be manually controlled with a laptop like we do right now. And someone will have to be trained, like me or one of the members of staff, but they'll need to be able to run the OBS, which is the software I use right now to do the stream management. They'll have to understand how to position the cameras because they pan and tilt and zoom. And also just basically understanding how to use OBS in conjunction with the streaming platform, which is right now YouTube. Now, as part of their quote they gave us is they will train whoever needs to be and they'll provide support on it as need be. But it is still a human-controlled system like mine is right now. What is going to need to be necessary is that we'll have to have a dedicated area of the room where that laptop or computer will sit, and we'll have cabling that goes to that area from a wall, hopefully a drop, in the wall. And they're going to tune the system for the audio environment in this room, same with the video. They'll help us manage the levels of output from the microphones, but basically they're going to have hanging microphones over the tables here so that they pick up our voices and we won't have to use these devices and have to keep them right at our mouth. Basically it'll just capture conversation. We'll have them over here and one dedicated for this podium. So that's basically so that everybody has good audio. One thing we talked about with Matthew, and one of our major bad parts about this setup is audio is bad. That's really the worst part about it. And that's completely covered with this. He's got a really good mic system, and they're going to tune it specifically to this environment and the way things echo so that everybody's voice is clear. We'll also be able to put in-ceiling speakers with this. This is an option that he included. And then he also wants to put another TV so that folks on this side of the room can see this, as well as folks on that side of the room can see this TV. We'll be able to do a lot of great stuff with the basic. We'll be able to do live presentations, so I would be able to switch the live stream so that they can see what's being presented on the TV. So folks on the, at home can see the PowerPoints or video calls we might do with folks live. And then we could do like a video and picture of people speaking at the same time. It's a very high, quality output, good audio, multiple cameras that are going to see speakers at the podium, everybody at this table, because we kind of sit in a funny layout. If there's no really good spot for just one camera, unfortunately, to see everyone. But really the main trade-off here with the basic level is that it's manually controlled. They did something similar to this in Appomattox County boardroom, and they had to have someone that basically control the live stream. People go to church, a lot of churches have like a little control panel area at the back. It's kind of something like that. So if we want to go to the more automated, that's the full cost. It also comes up with better audio-visual tools. So they would put like a little panel on the wall, a little tablet device, and it would basically, you just go up there, say I'm live streaming, and you can type in, this is the name of my live stream, and it just turns it on. And then this is a high-end system. It would have cameras that can detect when people are talking through the microphones as well. It would then change the focus of the camera to look at that person that's talking. It doesn't require a human to switch between cameras, and it does the audio at a better level as well. So what's really nice about that is there's no laptop for that. It's all managed off the touch panel, the size of a small iPad. Audio volume, camera switching, positioning, independent TV feeds, initiating remote calls. All of that would be managed from that little control device. So a really high-end control system. So people can still come in with a laptop like I do and plug in and do presentations. It would be smart enough to pick that up and you just say, yep, I want to show that, and it would do that on the live stream. One really cool thing is it would just do one mic array in the center of the room, and it has quite a few microphones actually in that array, and it uses AI to determine the best range. They can determine how far the speaker is away from the microphone. It's a really, really good, it would provide extremely high quality audio for our listeners and viewers. All of this is done through a WebEx cloud service. So, you know, we would have all of that being downloaded directly to a server in our server room. Basically, it's being live streamed and it's being recorded at the same time to the server room hard drive, so that, you know, we're not going to lose any of our videos or our audio. So they've done things like this in high-end church conference rooms, Liberty University, government contractor conference areas. So that cost balloons to, you put them out here. So the full cost is $61,408.04. The basic cost is $33,642.01. So, you know, I talked previously that when I did my research, it was about $12,000. That was unfortunately just the hardware. The labor of getting them to install it, looks like it sits around $16,000 for both of these. So there's really no labor cost difference. It's really all about the hardware and what we choose to do with that. Obviously, if we come back to them and say, hey, we just want one pan tilt zoom camera and one center speaker microphone, and that's all we want, and we'll do it all from the laptop, it would be a lot cheaper hardware costs, but you don't have the good audio. I mean, it would be improved from what we have, but it wouldn't be the level that the basic or the full would give us. So we kind of need to work through this, figure out what is necessary, that what do we deem necessary to this AV system, and, you know, work it into what we want to spend as well, because you've seen the numbers here. You gave an itemized list, and then you got your description as well. So,
I got a question for you. On average, how many people you can track how many people are watching this right now, right?
yeah.
How many?
Right now, we have 4 people watching. But I will see, people do come back and watch them after the fact. So we'll have 50 views on a video at a time, generally. Yeah, and that's a good one. Some of them are 5 to 10.
So it's gonna be more 5 to 10s than 50?
Yes.
So in other words, we're talking about spending $33,000 or $60,000 on 5 to 10 people watching from home.
If they can hear clearly and see everything clearly, you're gonna have more people watch.
I would hope so.
I mean, I would think if you can't hear anything and you can't really see, not many people would watch it because it's not worth their time.
Well, people are turned off by that, and we have had feedback in the past that, you know, well, you started doing that and then it didn't quite work, or you dropped the ball, or, you know, whatever the expression is. I think it's evident that we need something. But when I read the email with this attachment, I'm glad I was sitting down. Because I mean, I'm pretty open-minded to right many things, but I knew immediately that these numbers are out of the question, at least in the current fiscal year cycle. Unless there's something I don't know about, I don't see a way forward with this.
Well, let's do it this way. I'll bet I get more calls about the quality of this stuff than anybody sitting at the table. But Steve, how many calls do you get from people? None. Paul?
None.
Jimmy?
One.
Alex?
None.
Bob?
I've gotten about 4 or 5 in a year.
Gary?
I have gotten maybe 2 or 3 word of mouth calls, not actually people calling me on the phone.
We got
Just
4,
hearing about, you've had 4,
3 of them's the same person.
well, that counts as one or two.
So that's how many people we're talking about
Currently.
currently.
We're hoping that when the audio, I think if there's anything we do, we need to get good audio. I think video is not as important, especially if we want to keep costs low. But like when we talked with Matthew, he said, I've always found that if you don't have good audio, people are not going to listen and they're not going to watch. Because, I mean, especially if they can't see our faces, they can't read our lips, right?
Well, how about this? And don't get me wrong, now, I'm not pooping on it or anything.
Yeah.
But I think something like this, when it's no more people than what we're talking about, we ought to give these people out here, the people in the community, a chance to speak on it, because it's a lot of money. Why don't we put a questionnaire in the next water bill that goes out and let them know what we're looking at doing and ask them is, you know, just like we did with the trash pickup, is this important to you? And how much are you willing to spend on it? Let's hear from them.
I'm happy it was here.
Yeah, one other thing I checked, there's only 3 towns in Pennsylvania County, that's us, Gretna and Chatham. Gretna and Chatham don't even train. And they both have more revenue, I dare to say probably twice the revenue that we do. And I mean, it's a nice service to offer, but we've got so much other stuff we need to spend $33,000 to $60,000 on versus 5, 10, 15 people being able to sit and have wonderful audio video. In the future, when the revenue's there for it, yes, but right now I can't. At that price point, I can't, and I hate that you have to drag all this in here, and I thank you so much for it, but when I look at the condition of the plaza and the water treatment plant and where we're trying to go, grassroots, you know, kind of like the phoenix rising out of the ashes, it's a want more than a need at that price point.
Either one to me, I think, it's a lot better than what we have. But one of the goals we should make for this is, if we're going to do something like this, it should be interactive with the people sitting at home. They should be able to come into maybe the TV and give that, 3 minutes, say what they got to say, ask questions. We should be able to interact with our residents from that home.
And we would be able to do that with either one of these options. And we actually did get a comment while we were here, it was how much is the cost?
I mean, I think that would.
How much is the cost? So, people do interact. I don't have time to really monitor it, right, because I'm trying to be a counselor. But, with the automated system, we would, be able to do that. We could train Shannon on that. I mean, it's not really complicated what I'm doing. It's just a lot of effort to set it all up.
So how do we want to proceed? Do we want to put a questionnaire out? Do we want to just go for it or not go for it or what?
I really wish that these numbers had come in, from previous conversations, we were thinking anywhere from $5,000 to $12,000 total. And that's one thing. But when we get to talking about anywhere from 33 to 61, that radically changes the conversation, given our situation, and as Paul mentioned, all that. We've got so many things going on, and they're all important. If we had an alternative here to improve on what we have, but it costs less than 10 or 12 instead of 30 or 40, 50. It would be a lot more palatable. That's my thought on that. I don't know where else that we can go for something to compare to, but this, in my view, and again, I'm pretty open-minded to moving. I want to see things move forward in the current time period and do everything that we can do to be a professional organization that is on top of things. But we have to have a way to pay for it.
Why aren't the mics being used in the board to help amplify?
That's the microphone right there.
It's built into the camera.
See the guy in the middle of the table, softball,
It's built in that.
and that.
We need to put one of those away.
Bob, I'm not smart enough. Can you go through the basic options
Yeah.
to narrow down what would work? You are so much more knowledgeable.
So, yeah, so the basic one, 4 hanging choir style microphones above our board area is what it's called. And then 2 hanging microphones above the audience for ambient zone support is what it's called. And these are things that we can decide to take off. Like if we want to come back to him and say, we're only going to spend 10 grand, we can do that, right? So those are 6 microphones, right?
Yeah.
And then he also included 6-inch ceiling speakers so that it would provide audio feedback. So if we have a presentation, it's not just coming out of the TVs. Wireless handheld microphone for the podium with an antenna so that it doesn't have any issues with wireless signal. 2, they're called PTZ, pan tilt zoom cameras, so they can basically swivel in 360 degree and they can zoom in. Basically, they would be in the corners here, and they would be able to see all the folks' faces here, as well as the podium, probably the side for that. There's an audio processing and video switching unit, as well as a power conditioning and wireless integration unit. So all of that gets into a wall-mounted rack, and we looked at putting that in the server room and then running the wires up. And then another TV as well, and an input switching device as well. So basically a really fancy switch that controls both TVs simultaneously. So you don't have to do multiple plugs to go.
Are they aware of the size of this room?
Yeah, we toured the whole building.
Oh, okay.
Yep, he came there on site. And that is, he's passionate about audio quality. We may be, that we don't want that level of audio quality that he generally goes for at his level. So
That's as what we want, what we can afford.
I agree. And that's why I go back to audio quality being the most important. He's the expert, and that's what he told us. If we can just get one microphone, or if just doing the microphones over the table is the best way to get us speaking, I don't think we need the ambient sound necessarily. That's like when, I don't know if anybody's ever watched Chatham's board meetings online, but a lot of times it'll just be kind of like a wide view and there's like an ambient audience noise in the background before they actually start their presentation. That's kind of what those microphones would be for. So, in my opinion, not completely necessary. And then your full cost, well, hold on before I go to that. Do you have any questions there?
No, I guess that's what I was getting at, is what's the simplest, best way we can do it for what we can afford.
Yeah, just decide what we can spend and see what they can do with that.
And I guess the other side of that would be the simplest that we could get from him. How would that compare to what we're doing now and the quality of that?
Yeah.
And I guess future buildability.
Yes, so you
Can we
access
can grow
their
from
equipment.
that?
The basic one, both of them you could definitely build from. I think the full cost, it starts getting expensive because we have those AI cameras, the AI microphone, and then that room kit with the touch panel. That Cisco stuff is really high-end name brand stuff, and as you see from the line items, it's pretty expensive. I obviously really like that, that simplifies everybody's usage, but that's where the cost goes in that full, so.
I would sit here and say, if we could pull 100 people in, it'd probably be worth it.
Oh, yeah.
But the question is, can we do it?
Yeah,
That's
I
gonna
mean,
take time.
Yeah.
As the town continues to change and progress with the Annabelle and Olio and the plaza, you will see, I think you'll see more civic mindedness and more public involvement, more infusion of new ideas and energy.
That's what I was looking at, what we can afford now.
It is.
and
Build out to it.
That's a build-up, it's not a sudden event that happens one day, it's gonna take a few years for it to happen gradually.
And if we have the same company, then they can add to their own equipment.
yeah, and all this stuff is you can add on to it. We can add more microphones later, we can add more cameras later. Obviously, the labor costs, you're paying a little bit more money because you get to come out multiple times, right, for different projects. But it sounds like what I'm hearing is go back and say, can we get this as close to 10 grand as possible with one pan tilt zoom and focus on audio quality for the speakers, generally the podium and this, nothing for the audience, ambient noise, and see what he says on that.
I like the sound of that,
Okay.
something that is a definitive step up from what we have, that people will really appreciate,
Okay.
relate to, but yet it's not too big of a leap, and yeah, like you say, cap it somewhere around 10.
Okay.
And maybe 1,000 either side, but not.
He might laugh at me, but it's worth asking, right?
If we could do something like this.
Never hurts
for,
to ask.
8 to 12, it would be a whole lot more palatable than 33.
Yeah,
Tell him you got 10 grand, what's the best we can get for 10?
yeah. I'm good. That's what I'll tell him after this.
And then, if the number of people picks up, then later on down the road, then we can add to that.
Yeah.
But if we still have the same amount of people, then the rest of the town's gonna look at, well, you just blew $10,000 because you didn't do any good.
Yeah, we're gonna have to grow it.
So if it doesn't grow from this, then
We lost $10,000.
we can't be putting more money into it, because we're not getting the response from the citizen.
I'm fine with that.
Buildability that somebody used was the right word in that.
So,
Scalability, that's even better.
this has been an issue for a long time, and I've always said we need to do something to make it better. But to say, okay, we're gonna spend $60-some thousand, we may in the future as time goes on. But I don't see how the town can afford to do that right now. So maybe we need to keep it at a minimum, and let's see how much increase of people that, so to speak, tunes in and listens. If we still at the 4 and 5 or the 10, then we'll need to know that we need to be careful how much more money we spend in the future for this.
Okay. I'll email everybody what he says.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, it would be great if we had that amount of money we could put in.
I agree.
We just don't have it right now.
All right, reports from staff. Shannon, do you want to give Melissa's report?
I gave you guys the checklisting. I don't know of anything else to report on our part.
All right.
The checklist, I see you got a fairly sizable Dominion Energy payment on the 3rd of June, and then another one, similar amount at the 30th of June. Is that just 2 months, all done in the same month?
Because I haven't looked at any of the checks or anything. I won't be able to answer without doing some research.
Okay.
All right, you want to go ahead and give a clerk's report?
My report is I am getting set up with Voya so that I can make sure and stay on top of those payments. I'm already set up with VRS, so doing the snapshots is no problem. I reported to them last week, Marissa and I did, that she was leaving, and they said it would take anywhere from 5 to 8 business days for me to be set up to start picking up the Voya stuff. So that will not take place until next week. I'm working on paying invoices this week, and then all of my regular stuff. I am so busy though, I do not have time to work on getting our online documents, ADA approved at this time. I just don't have the time. I start work by the time I get here, and honest, I stay going nonstop until I leave.
I'm afraid this is gonna be a very heavy weight for you for a while.
Did-
So we can find the replacement.
Those ADA documents, I thought they weren't required until next June.
They're not required till next June, but I have only successfully completed about 5 or 6. And when you look at how many documents we have online, that's nothing.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to make sure and keep my current minutes and everything ADA approved. And I've kind of got it down, so it's not taking quite as long, but it's still time consuming to go through and make sure all of those codes and everything are correct. Because you can tell AI to do it, but it doesn't do everything right. So I have to go in and change a lot of things. I also have to make sure that when I'm going down my codes, that it's going through the document properly and reading things to, say, someone who's visually impaired, the way that it should be read, instead of going all over the page. And that's the problem with AI doing it by itself, is it puts stuff all over.
Well, if I can help you with that, let me know. For the meetings, I think you probably already got down with the other general documents. I'm happy to help.
I can use it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Public Works, Joe Smith, Paul Wallington.
We've, over the last, I'd say 3 weeks, run into a few problems down at the pump station. I think it was 2.5 weeks ago. One of the pumps dropped out on us, and we were only operating off one for about, I'd say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we got through that, but it kept shutting off every now and then, so we'd have to go back down early in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, or like, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning. They let her cool down and restart her. We had to get a new motor controller for one of them, and we had one put in about 1.5 years ago for number 1. And then we had 2 phase monitors fail, so we had to get 2 of those. And then we had to have AIC come in and work on the pump monitoring system to allow it to do more, to let us know what's failing and go through the process, because that type of control panel, you have to take a laptop like Bob's, they have to plug it in there, they have to get a program through their systems and go through the alarm settings and change settings, and now we can do a little bit more with the pumps. And so far, knock on wood, it's been a week, we're just trying to hold it until we can get this work done. So that'll be another topic when we start this job, because in the beginning I think there was talk of a bypass pump when they go to do this. And they may have to do this because I don't trust one pump to run. And then we've also had a few issues with the water treatment plant. And I'll let Bob go into more of that we've been working on for the past, I'd say since Thursday. Starting in Thursday, because we had a few power failures. And when we have a power failure, it knocks out the fire suppression system for Rage Plastics. And that's why we had to jump on this thing, because you can't have a bunch of people working in there around the clock and not have fire suppression system. And it just so happened at the time when the power dropped, the fire marshal wanted to come in and do the inspection. So we had to come. We had to find a company that works on the high tension voltage lines. And that's not a normal electrician. Once you hit 13,000 volts, the normal electrician won't touch it. They call that like a lineman's utility position. Because now you're talking about transformers, fuses on the lines, trees running on the lines. We've been dealing with that. We've got water billing off. We've been dealing with that. We've had a few water leaks throughout the town where a few pressure regulators failed, so we had to replace those. Also working on the 2 underbores. I was supposed to do one tomorrow, but because of the vacation scheduling at the construction company, when the guy got back, he had 7 emergency jobs to do, and then he'll get back to us next week. So I will do theirs next week, and I have another one at the end of Prospect. It's right after First Southern, where I'll be doing that one too. And that's what we've been up to right now.
Thank you. Bob?
As Joe said, we've had some problems. We had those storms before, in the end of June, which knocked all the power out, basically. The lines were knocked down, and we basically had to walk the lines, find out where the problems were. And one of the main problems we have is the area, the right-of-way, we'll call it, where the power lines go to the river. By the railroad tracks right there, you can see it from Pocket Road, just look up. The growth there, you can't really walk through it even, that's how bad it is. That has to be cleaned up, because we can't see the power lines. If it was clean, you could drive by and look and say, oh, the power line fell, we gotta get to that. We can't even do that right now, so you work your way through that and find out where they went down as a result of these storms we're having. The power lines there are old, and what happens is, when you have high winds and stuff, they tend to move, and sometimes they'll touch each other and short the system out. Then you have to go in there, replace the fuses, and but we can't even really get in there. That's the problem. It needs to be cleaned. Now we've got they had a company come over 4th of July, Elliott, and they took care of the tree that was creating a lot of problems in there, and we had the power running up that in there. I ran the pump today even, and we have power back at the filter plant and everything. On what day was it? The other day, Dominion's power was out up there, and we didn't know about it. One of the phases were out, and then we found out yesterday, and that we were able to take care of that and get everything fixed. So today started, everything's working fine right now. But I'm not guaranteeing that, because, like I say, if you'd like to see it, you can't really even walk through this area. Under normal conditions, that's always maintained. When Burlington was running the place, you could walk through it and then check everything out.
What you have on the pole is 3 wires, phases, and they have no covering on. They're like copper wires. And when a tree like that storm that came with that high winds and all, what happened was one of the trees that the line was growing close to and through bent over. And when that happens, it's popping your fuses and you lose all your power. All something has to do is touch that thing and you lose your power. We do have one line over here that's kind of drooping way above the others, and they call that stretching. So it's gonna have to be tightened up, which is, they have to come in, pull it tighter. And how they tighten it up, I'm not a lineman. I mean, you've seen them on the lines, they get the wheels and they pull them tight, that kind of stuff.
Well, this company that comes in, you see them in Alphabus, or see them in Hurt,
Elliott.
they cut the tree lines and cut
There's
the
a,
trees off.
we spoke to a fellow that does it. He cuts the path and cuts the trees and everything, and ironically, he mulches everything too. Some companies just cut them and drop them, and it's your responsibility then.
Being said it's a private line and we own it, this company that we were able to find, because it was not an easy task to find somebody who would come right out and go on that. Dominion didn't want anything to do with it. So we had to get this company, Elliott's, and they came in and they went over every pole, and we went with them, looked for the wires. We found that one tree back here, and that apparently seemed to have done it. But they've said that the wires are loose. You know what I'm saying? They're the one droop, and in a good wind, it can blow that wire to touch it, and that'll blow out too. They offer, they'll do anything you want with the line, like if your fuses are too big in a spot, they'll
That's
bring them down to
good.
what they normally should be, and they'll maintain your easement if that's what you want, but it's all contract. I mean, it's something you have to pay for. And that's what they want to do
And
there.
we're also talking to this company, we've realized that some of the circuits there, the fuses are the wrong size. And
In certain spots, they're 100, and when they went through, they said, you have some hundreds over here by the creek, and they're too high. He said at the minimum, they should be 50s, and as you go out further, you'll drop down to 40s, 30s, and keep it like that. But the reason they put the hundreds in is because they were having this issue. And instead of trying to correct the issue, it's like your house. I'm gonna put a bigger breaker in. Well, sooner or later, you're gonna have a fire, an issue, something. You can't just put a bigger breaker in to make it keep working to go long. It has to be the right stuff. And this stuff, we're finding out now. We didn't know this until we had the electric people go through it, and they explained it to us.
So what we had to do Friday, we had to bring in a crew on an emergency because the fire alarm was going off at Rage Plastics. They, we have to supply water, the pumps was out. Fire marshal wanted to do an inspection on them, so we had to get somebody in here. So we brought them in here, and it won't cheap. Bring these guys back, clean the power line up, is not gonna be cheap either. But we have to do it. It's not, when we do it, we need to do it as fast as these people can get back in here, because next time we have a storm and the wind blows, odds are we're gonna be right back to where we were last week. The the pump was blowing off this morning where it couldn't run. So we finally got everything straight on that. So we're working with them right now to get them back in here to cut that power line as fast as we can.
Thank you for keeping all that maintained and working. My question is, that power line that goes out towards the river, is that supplying power to just the pump at the river?
The
or
pumps.
is it?
There's an elevated transformer unit
Mhm.
that it feeds, and those things feed the pumps.
Okay.
Now, the pumps are, the voltage that's coming into the pumps is 13,000 volts. Just coming into the pump. So, and that has to be read from the transformers up there.
And is there like a substation it splits off of there at Pocket Road? Where's the power actually being fed from?
Over here in the parking lot, at Rage Plastics, there are three, I don't remember what you call those. What are those boxes called?
Junction boxes?
Junction boxes. Big units.
they feed the entire place.
It's like a
Filter
step down.
plant,
It comes in at 12,700 volts.
That's where it becomes a private system for.
Yeah.
Time.
And
And
that's,
how long is the line that feeds the pump at the river? From that junction box? Because that's privately owned, right?
Yeah, we own it. It
So
goes
that's
up.
not from Rage all the way?
No, it goes
No, it
from
doesn't
here,
go in.
past Rage to the water treatment plant, down the hill to Sycamore Creek, and then from there to the river.
Okay.
Way more than one.
it's pretty long.
From the,
Okay, and is the part that is between Pocket Road and the river the worst section? Or what about this part that's right here? Like,
this is a better section.
Yeah.
The wiring from the filter plant, let's say down to Pocket Road is in good shape.
and it's maintained?
Well, no, not really. So, we use that, out of the growth growing up, that's the least, right there.
But it needs to
But
be
still
maintained.
needs-
Yes, it needs to be cut. It all does.
If you go from here at the river and you climb that cliff, that's where it'll start. But that part there, you could probably do with like a bush hog. You got little pines like this, high grass, and the trees are kind of away from the line. There's just a few that gotta be trimmed, but not really bad. Over here, the grass up to your shoulders, the trees are grown right up against the lines, and that goes to the tracks
Okay,
all the way to the railroad tracks.
gotcha.
So that's the worst section.
Is this something that we can contract on a yearly basis with this Elliott Group?
We never got to ask them, they just said they take care of that stuff. if
This,
you want.
that was another fella that's agreed to,
Yeah, he works for Elliott,
for him.
but he also does his clearing stuff on the side, and he lives local.
What about the longevity of these lines? Is this something that we need to keep in our capital improvement plan? Like, obviously, but do we know age?
Yes, you're gonna have to, with some of them.
I don't know age, no, but I do know this. We did talk to the one guy at Dominion who's like a supervisor, and he said that in the long run, he said you can have them put in their poles, their wires, their transformers, their lines, and they'll maintain it all. But it's gonna cost you.
One-time payment.
They gotta bring in engineers, do a study, tell you, you gotta pay for poles, transformers, all that stuff.
But then it gets out from underneath us.
Yeah, but you're looking at, I'm gonna guess, a high figure.
Does this right of way go through the Avio property?
No,
No,
So
not
it's
up
it's on the
there.
outskirts of that?
no, it butts up against it.
Okay, it's right on the edge.
Yeah, I'm not exactly, you know what I'm saying, who's got what.
We did the readjustment of the boundary, and that's what you were working on with them coming down by Faith and all that area. What we did was, we kept the power lines and everything, butted right up to the Albion property.
The one nice thing though, if you turn it over to Dominion, yeah, there's a cost to it, but if a transformer drops because of a storm, they have one here in less than 12 hours, where we, as the owners, would have to find someone to get that transformer, pay exceptional cost to get it here in a timely manner. So there's trade-offs to handing it off to Dominion.
And that power that we're getting is supplied by Dominion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I know Mecklenburg is somewhere in this area as well.
It isn't a question of should we hand it off to Dominion. We should. There's no question.
Yeah.
The question is, how much are we willing to pay for them to take it?
I mean, get a quote. I mean, see what it's gonna cost. You might as well understand it.
Don't have a problem with it. Get you one next week.
I mean,
I think that's gonna involve the mayor talking to Dominion and talking to them and telling them what he wants to do, in conversation with engineers, them wanting to come out and see everything. I think that's how that's gonna roll.
now, the fire suppression system, doesn't it have isn't the storage tank on the hill, one of them reserved for that suppression system? So if you don't have power to the pump, don't they still technically have pressure for that suppression system?
Because when they did this, they took that part, okay, and they wired it from there into the water treatment plant. So if the water treatment plant has no power, they have no power when they built it.
When they built the fire suppression system?
That was part of BID cities.
Yeah.
That was built to provide water for that plant up there. They would pull from the reservoir. And what happened was when they built Rage Plastics down there, they used that building to pump water, and instead of running the electric for it down at Rage Plastics, they ran the electrics, left everything for one the way Burlington had it, rather than change it around.
In your experience with these fire suppression systems, is it normal for that to be the case, that it needs power to supply the water for these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it has to be at a certain pressure, so it has to pump a certain pressure to get the sprinkler systems and everything to work.
Yes, you have a big amount of gravity between where that plant is and where that storage tank is. I was hoping it would be enough to...
See, a lot of places I'm used to, like if you have a water treatment plant, you have a backup generator.
Yeah.
If you lose power, everything's good. If you've got a fire suppression unit, you should have a backup generator. If power goes out, you don't lose your power pumps. Nobody's got nothing here.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Do we-
Abbott has a diesel backup pump. So if we lose the electric pump or the jockey pump, we got a diesel pump.
That's what they have up there, there's a diesel and everything.
There is a diesel pump?
Yeah, they used to be up there. That's what they rebuilt. They sent that out when they tore up the back and everything. There's still electric and everything up there for that other pump and everything. But there was a big diesel they
But
had
that's
rebuilt.
That's in one of the buildings up there, isn't it?
That
Yeah.
building right next to them.
Yeah,
I call it the BIDC building.
yeah.
Because like I said, that was all for BIDC. In case they had a fire up there, that would kick in, pump water up there. It was a very, very, very powerful pump.
Is it still usable?
No,
Yeah, oh yeah, they could use it, yeah. They had it all rebuilt when they rebuilt when they built Rage. It was even rough to get it out and everything, I think.
So they have a backup pump? I think I'm a little bit confused here.
I'm totally confused.
There's a diesel, in other words, if there's a fire, I guess, this pump, the big pump kicks in. If they turn it on, I guess. I don't know. They would never, all I had dealt with was the electric and water being connected to the building itself. I never even really saw the inside
If they
after
have
they
a
built it.
workable diesel pump up there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure,
Then they never lost fire suppression.
Should know.
but the alarms
This
and
is the first
stuff, I
I've ever
don't know.
heard about this pump. I don't know if it works. I don't know if they had it serviced. I don't even know if they have fuel.
Right.
I've never seen it. I don't know. All I know is, what was it? Thursday at 4:45, they was down here hollering. And that's how all this got started.
But they still had a backup is what we think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, you can see I assume it's the diesel fuel tank still out back and everything.
We just don't 100% know. if it-
Yeah, like I said, I never really was involved in any
I'd
of
be
that.
surprised if you couldn't
Well,
build
but
something like that without a backup.
You would hear
I
the
thought
diesel
that-
engine
I thought
running.
that Arco burned
I've been
out.
right outside the building. I've never heard no diesel engine. All I heard was the
I've
alarm
never heard
going
it.
off and alarm.
I was under the
I don't think
impression,
it worked.
when Arco was doing that building down there, that's who pumped Mickey burned up.
I did hear about them burning up a pump, but I didn't.
I don't know, but I know they, basically you go by and you hear a sound. That indicates that there's no electric at the building.
And I mean, I've been around our diesel
Yeah.
generators and all, and
You
you
don't
hear
mistake
it.
it.
I don't hear nothing going on in there.
Yeah.
But I know when Burlington had it, there was a big diesel pump up there to, for the fire. Look, I mean, and then they used to run this electric pump just to test everything.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jason?
Everyone should have the police reports on the police report. Really no updates other than we received a grant. I let y'all know several months ago about, we received a grant to go to a training conference. We did go to the training conference. Also, this past month, we filled out the litter grant. So this is a reimbursement grant for the town for when we do the litter pickup. We purchased some trash bags, gloves, signs, cones, stuff like that for that. I'm looking at vehicle maintenance this year, tires. It's just that time of year, vehicle maintenance and some equipment maintenance too. That's pretty much all I have.
Thank you.
The list of cars you got last month,
Yes, I did. All those have been notified. Thank you for reminding me. I meant to say something about that. They've all been notified, so we're just in that time
for
frame.
that 90-day period and 30 days of that's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we're at.
John?
Well, mainly this month we've been working on getting this VRA financing in place, and we did the resolution tonight. The closing's gonna be on the 24th of this month, and then we'll be ready to start the work on the mandate for improving the water system. And the at the work session coming up, we'll be having a public hearing on the mobile restaurant ordinances. There'll be a joint public hearing with the planning commission, and we'll get that passed. And that's it.
Anybody else have anything?
Just want to ask briefly, I know water billing has been mentioned and you put it on the calendar on the homepage. Billing date is the 15th.
Well, that's when they're gonna be mailed. I will process them on the 10th, Friday,
So you're planning on printing the Friday then?
yes.
All right. I don't know that I've got enough turnaround time to do a new, is there anything particular that anybody wants written up and put out that we can put on the back of the water bill instead of a full-length newsletter? If there is, I can draft that and give it to her.
Will we know, the result of the grant for the equal housing, the Virginia Block grant we talked about in the last two meetings? Will we know the results by that point?
About that Friday?
Yeah.
No,
Not
I don't remember the exact date.
I would hope we could.
I know, yeah.
I wouldn't bet a penny against $10,000 on
Okay. That's because I would include that if we had it.
Unless we've selected a young man to put together a short newsletter for her to put on the back of the water bill, and then maybe it's not me one this quarter. I've gotten jammed up with different things. I don't know if we have enough this time, but I thought I'd ask.
But you can put it on the website when you
Yeah, we can draw up something and put it on the website at any point, but I can't get a full-length newsletter done by Friday morning. Just can't this time.
Well, if you want to ask them something about the audio and video, we can do that.
We could put a survey question on
Yeah, that's a
there
pretty great
about
idea.
that.
We want to ask.
Now, the thing is, while we're all together, maybe we'll have some sort of consensus about how we're gonna phrase this. What exactly we wanna ask. Is it a simple one or two question thing? I mean, how much of a question now do we want it to be?
The more questions you ask, the less of a response you're gonna get.
Number one, would you like to have a system that you could view meetings from home and participate in the meetings? Number two, what would you be willing to pay for that? $5, $10, $20, $30, $50,000?
60?
Well, that right there is gonna get you all lowest numbers every time, no matter who you ask.
I think just the first question, and just see.
Would you be interested in having and being able to participate from home?
Yeah, I think if there's interest, then we can make a decision on how much we want to spend, because, you know, everybody's got different budgets and what they think's reasonable. And we gotta make sure we do it in relation to what the town's
How much
funds
would
are.
that shine, we'll get to put on that.
Be careful about what the word participate means to some people.
I would just say, are you interested in the town having the ability to stream their meetings live?
Yeah.
Keep it as simple as possible.
We got that participate.
That
They want to take that and have a conversation.
that can turn into a whole bunch of people submitting comments on a chat thing. And it's back and forth and.
Well, it's gonna do that no matter what you put on there.
Yeah, I mean, and we can do that. It's just, that's a totally different type of meeting that we need to
Yeah.
work on. Yeah, it's not, no.
All right. Anything else? We're zoomed.
These are ones I talked to.
We're closed at 8:10. Adjourned.